Tonight's episode is brought to you by Chernobyl Cola, the cola so powerful it has twice the flavor at half the Rinkins. Yes, you don't even have to be in the same room to enjoy its savory, smoky, rich flavor. Chernobyl Cola. And now to our regularly scheduled program. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm going to be doing this in sort of podcast format tonight. First off, I want to thank my son Eduardo, who wrote this new intro that I'm using. In fact, he wrote a much longer piece that I'll be using on the outro. He wrote it just for this show, so now Max's Models has its own actual theme song, which he called Max's Song. He did this for my impending 60th birthday. I want to thank him for that, and you'll hear the entire tune at the end. So a lot to talk about today. To begin with, the music he sent me was about the only thing that went right today. Today was just a bad modeling day, and I know we all have them, and I know you know what I'm talking about. So let's start off with some things that went right recently. The GB conversion was a lot of fun, didn't have any real hang-ups. The snark went together fairly well, was able to find decals for it. The recent big problem I had was all the breakage on the B25 Mitchell build, but of course I was able to fix that. And today I was, even with considerable difficulty, able to finish this tiny 299 models 1/72 scale Bd5, which I'm going to tell you, that little model was tougher than you would have thought. It only had a few parts, but partly the tiny size, the poor fit, a lot of putty, it was just a lot of work to get that little thing together. It's sort of done in the James Bond Octopussy colors, which were used in the movie. It's not exactly correct, but it's close enough, and it looks good. And I got to admit, now that it's done, I kind of like it. While I was building, I was like, "Urgh." But there we go. So it's on display with a couple other jets that I have no other place to put right now, and I'll figure out where they're going to go at some point. So that actually went okay. You guys remember I was working on the Panavia Tornado that was a road build. Well, I finally got around to priming it and everything. Today I figured, you know what, I'm gonna paint it. I masked it off and used the airbrush, and I got a bunch of overspray somehow. I thought I was more careful. I had a little trouble with the spray gun, but I'm not sure what happened. But I see a lot of these guys who really know what they're doing that'll just cover up part of the model and use the spray gun to hit a few areas, and they don't have any problem with overspray. But apparently I didn't have it set right. Somehow, I'm not sure how, but maybe I shot it at an angle I wasn't paying attention. So note to self, next time, just don't be cheap with the tape and the paper. Cover the whole bloody model so that you can't have overspray. But there was another little quick and dirty trick that I tried to pull, which completely backfired on me. And that was, my paints were thinned for the airbrush. And when I was going to mask off the black, I thought, you know what, this is just a little touch up I can, and by the way, I skipped a step. I didn't seal the tape with clear coat, which is a good idea to help prevent leakage. But I figured, you know what, I'm just going to dry brush a little black on here. Well, not dry brush exactly, but you just put a little bit on the brush, just enough that I can just paint away from the tape and shouldn't really have a seepage problem. Well, wrong. And so that went south on me. I was not happy with the results. Fortunately, it's acrylic, and I'm able to clean some of it up. But I'm going to give it overnight. I did do some cleanup on it, but I'm going to give it overnight to harden. And then I, of course, am going to try to clean it up a little more, and then I'm just going to have to retape it and repaint some of the white. There's just no getting around that. And the thing is, some of the parts came out really well. They marked off it. Believe it or not, some of this is actually freehand. Just a little bit of tape for the edges, and then just a quick stroke to get a straight edge, and a little bit of a practiced hand, and it came out okay. But I more than anything else, I got in a rush. I thought, this is a quick little job. I'm just going to knock it out real fast, and that's really never the attitude to approach a model with, because, well, that's what happens. You start having some models go well, you start picking up your pace a little bit, and then you kind of hit that brick wall on the speed limit and go, you know what? Maybe I'm trying to go just a little too bloody fast. I'm not quite as great as I think I am. Also, in other news, I got started on that little Picard. It was already, the fuselage was already together when I got it, but that's by that Pukey, however you say the name of that company. But this is like their only, I think they put out 2 Picards in different scales according to Scale Mates. But wow, this thing has lines in it that would scare away a Matchbox kit. I mean, they're real trenches. But still, it's a pretty rare kit, and it's going to look great when it's up on the stick. So I went ahead and just shot the whole fuselage in black, and I'm going to use a little bit of the metallizer on it. And I'm not going to. The model doesn't have a lot of detail. I'm just going to. It comes with a stand. It doesn't come with wheels, so you have to put it on the stand. So I'm just gonna make a nice little basic build, a quick little. And here I am just talking about don't do things quick. I mean more of a basic build, not a quick build. Sort of a relaxed build. So I'll have that done in a couple of days, hopefully, and that will be a nice little thing to have on a stick up on the unusual airplane. And yeah, it's not super detailed, but so what? It'll look good from across the room, and it'll be fun, and that's really what matters. The MMU and the astronaut are coming along. I found my 2X paint, which is okay to use. So I've got that on the. I already had the astronaut in his backpack painted. This is now the MMU is all that's left to paint and decal. So, and the reason I'm doing this from Command Central here in the house instead of out in the Tarbis is because that stuff, after I sprayed it, we've had a lot of crappy weather. I mean, today, and I know a lot of you folks have been fending off tropical depressions and hurricanes, but it's just been wet and nasty out. So I had to keep the doors closed, and I mean, even the cat didn't want to go out. So I pretty much had to abandon the Tarbis, eject for the fumes. But I figured, you know what? It was a good place to stop working. And so I guess the thing to talk about today is the penalty we pay for taking shortcuts. We've all done it. So you guys, if you're not already burning up the keyboards, why don't you tell me about one time you thought, you'd do something a little on the quick side and it came back to bite you. And, I show my builds, warts and all. I'll clean up the Tornado. It's going to look good when I'm done. But at first I was like, I'm never telling anybody of this. We're never going to speak of it. And I was like, nah, that's too good. I can't not show that. And the Chernobyl cola gag was because I had I guess it was a fever blister or something on my lip a while back. And we're driving along, and we stopped someplace that I was waiting for my wife to run a quick errand, and her soda was in the car. And I'm a little parched, took a sip of soda. And she was like, I can't drink that now because you've got that radiation thing on your lip. It's Chernobyl cola now. And oh God, I laughed so hard. So I had to come up with a Chernobyl cola, a joke ad. It's an honor of that. And by the way, I just found those pictures on the internet. You type in Chernobyl cola, there are all kinds of gags and stuff out there about it. So nothing to do with models. I just thought that was a humorous little thing you guys might enjoy. But getting back to models, even though the B-25 had a lot of problems with breakage, I'm still happy with the way it came out in the end, and I'm sure I will be with the Tornado as well. The little BD5 that was sent to me, fortunately, came with about 3 sets of decals, and I used most of them because those little decals are so thin and so cantankerous, they had to be trimmed off exactly because it was one piece of film. So it's funny, you get like the GB and the Snark really were kind of trouble-free builds. Despite all the mods, the BD5 and the B25 were both aggravatingly troublesome, but came out nice when it was done. The Panavia Tornado went together beautifully, great Airfix kit, and then I went and screwed it up myself because I got in a hurry. So you have the self-inflicted wounds as opposed to, well, of course, the decals on the BD5 were extremely troublesome. If I'd only had the one set, it'd probably just be plain white. But that kind of brings up the whole thing about when is it the kit's fault and when is it the builder's fault and when is it the paint's fault. By the way, somebody had a great idea. We'll talk about this more on the live stream when I get around to doing the next one. And I am planning one this Saturday, but as you guys may know, I'm working the following 3 Saturdays. So we'll either have to wait till I'm done with this schedule or pick another night. But the viewer asked, what is, because we've been talking about our tools lately, some of the oldest tools we have that were hand-me-downs, is what is your favorite building accessory? And man, that's a tough one, because I have a few of them that I just couldn't get by without. I mean, the pen vise, some of the clamps, the airbrush. I don't know what my favorites are. That's a thinker. So I guess if I had to reduce it to one, it'd be the X-Acto knife. But that's a bit of a please don't make me build a model with just an X-Acto knife. Not that I wouldn't do it, but something else we might talk about that a viewer asked about, which was a follow-on to this morning's show, and that was how many of you guys, like to play with your models. And I think as kids we all did, and probably as grown-ups we still do. And he sent this picture, and he picked this up for a few dollars at an estate sale. Apparently he had one when he was a kid, and of course he would play with it with all of his model airplanes, often of different scales, because when you're a kid, scale doesn't matter that much. You have no problem with chasing a 148 scale P40 with a 1/72 scale 0. So, because it's the beauty of being a kid. Anyway, he was sharing his story with me and about how important it was to launch him off the carrier deck bar that his dad had and fly around the ocean-colored carpet. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, we had shelves that were our carrier decks, and we had kind of a blue and green carpet, which was, of course, was the ocean. And how many missions did we fly in our bedrooms with our models? Kind of, some days the muse doesn't strike, and it's weird. The weather, the wet weather out there just kind of dampened my spirits to building. But later, after the weather had lifted, I felt like going out, and I try just to build when I feel like it. And you can hear the phones going in the background. Well, I guess that's my signal to sign off. Guys, you take care. As always, model on, and a special thanks to Eduardo for writing that song for me, which you shall now hear in its duration. So again, guys, take care, and as always, model on.